And welcome back to episode 204 of the Weekly Techgram with me, Jay.
Me, Karl.
See, I remembered this week what episode number we were on. So we are back, and oh god, scheduling is crazy around these plants.
Momentarily back.
Well, yes, we are, and just first off, apologies for the I guess the scheduling, isn't it? And
it's all got a bit crazy.
It's all got a bit crazy, but we are still here. We haven't gone anyway. But yes, as Karl pointed out, we are back, but we are going to be going dark again for 2 weeks, which was planned. So we're going to be going dark. So this episode will be coming out on Friday, the 4th of April, and we will return to your ears in 2 weeks or so time. Well, after 2 weeks, I should say. So that'll be the episode that will be published on the week of the 21st. So likely it'll come out again on Friday the 25th. So yes, it is a busy couple of weeks. We've got planned holidays. It's that time of the year, and just getting away, having a bit of downtime, just disconnecting, I guess. Which I'm laughing because I've got a phone in my pocket, iPad in my bag.
There's no escape.
There's no escape from the technology. Oh man! But we are back anyway, and what a packed show for you we have this week. Karl has been going crazy on the Rumours. He has been. I don't know where you've been keeping these. You've been piling them up or something?
I've got a little folder, a little collection.
Like I'm saying, is it like if you've just like put them all into one place? But no, I've got them all out.
As I see him or hear him, I make a note, but then we haven't done anything for a few weeks. So
fair point. Fair point. Well, this week then we're going to talk to you about satellite phone services. We're going to talk about fake companies, not the ones you think. Troy Hunt, yes, him of Have I Been Pwned, who was in the UK in the last couple of weeks actually.
Who has indeed been pwned.
Has indeed been pwned. We're going to talk gaming. We're going to talk not just gaming games, but we're going to talk consoles as well. And as I said, the rumor mill is absolutely overflowing. In fact, we need to get a bigger bucket this week. It's humongous. So I'll hold there because we'll come back to the rumor mill. But let's kick off then with the first story of the week, which is actually something really good news for the UK for once, which is about the UK may soon be able to get satellite phone calling, direct-to-phone satellite services, which is available today in the US, isn't it? I think in some networks, and of course, is available today via Apple on the satellite phone call thing. Is it for emergencies? If you dial the emergency services, But now Ofcom,
this is more general, though,
this
isn't
is Ofcom saying, we want to allow you to do direct, cell to satellite, which is awesome.
Yeah, well, I think was it back in January? Vodafone made the world's first, satellite video call using a standard mobile on remote mountain in West Wales somewhere.
Brilliant.
But Ofcom seem to like this idea, so they are proposing that we do a more direct-to-device satellite tech. I think the idea is getting like 100% mobile coverage, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Get those hard-to-reach places, like up a mountain in Wales or the Highlands of Scotland, where service is decidedly patchy. But it's not just for calls. They want to do the full thing. So like calls, messaging, and data.
It is a really good idea because you think over the years we've had so many attempts to try and blanket the UK with 3G, 4G, 5G to try and get rid of some of these dead zones. And I don't live in massively rural area. I mean, like I say, it's semi-rural, but I mean, it's not like I'm in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, if I step outside my door and travel, half a mile, a kilometre down the road, there's a lack of signal in place.
You're in a dead zone, are you?
Some of them are, right? And you kind of think to yourself, how is this happening? And the rollout of 5G really has not solved this problem, quite frankly.
Well, no, because they're chopping off all the 3G, aren't they?
Well, yeah, but the 5G rollout was meant to solve the problems, wasn't it? And we were told 5G was the silver bullet to mobile connectivity.
No, that's 6G.
But it hasn't happened. And even in London, I don't know about you, when we go to big cities, I don't find that 5G is giving us...
Don't have the best service in the city, no.
No. And I think a lot of that's coincided with, when the UK got rid of all the Huawei equipment, we moved over, the stack isn't particularly well. There's a lot of signal density. It just hasn't happened. So I think, given the absolute explosion of low Earth orbit satellites, I'm going to say Starlink. We've got Project Kuiper launching their first satellites next week, as in first production satellites next week.
Yeah.
The Chinese are looking at putting in orbit another 40,000 of these things as well of their own. That's a whole different problem. We won't go there at the moment. But what I mean is the opportunity to connect to a satellite is far greater, isn't it? It's not like it used to be, where you had to kind of, satellite TV had to be pointed at a certain direction. Getting phone satellite service now definitely probably an alternative to this there. So I'm well up for this. And this is awesome.
Yeah, I suppose this is probably playing into the new emergency services network, isn't it? Because that's going to be on 5G,
Yep.
allegedly, and they're meant to be having 100% coverage, so emergency services can use the network. Well, the same network the consumers use. I think they have priority on
They
the
do have
network,
priority,
but it's
yeah.
the same network. So if they could also tie this in with this direct-to-satellite tech to kind of fill in the blanks, the pockets, that would be really helpful.
I mean, look, if it means that you don't have dead zones, you can be in the middle of the mountains and you get, where there's no transmitter for like, several miles in every direction, or you're out at sea, even if you're a few
Yeah.
miles off the coast, it doesn't mean you're going to necessarily get signal, is it?
Yep.
So absolutely awesome. I think this is great. I mean, yes, we could get into the whole angle of, security, resilience, all that kind of stuff, but I'm interested by this. I think this is a really, really good move, but it's not going to come yet. Obviously, Ofcom is doing
consultation periods and all that.
So, but depending on how fast they move, and given the government is trying to get the CMA and Ofcom working more efficiently, who knows? We could see some by the end of the year. I mean, that would be great if we could, just in time for the iPhone 17 that neither you or I are going to be getting.
No, exactly. No, I'm waiting for the foldable one.
Oh, don't start with that. but I should state this isn't obviously just linked to Apple. Samsung Galaxy 25 series and the latest Google Pixels also provide satellite connectivity as well, don't they? From
they do, yeah.
So you are not being left out if you're not with Cupertino.
Yeah.
So moving from one bit of good news to a little bit of weird news, then. Do you remember a while ago there was a lot of these stories coming out around these fake fake North Koreans, I should say, start getting jobs in US companies and in UK companies, wasn't it? Through
yes. They smuggled the North Koreans into, to take roles in US companies and exfiltrate trade secrets and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but all from the comfort of North Korea or nearby.
Oh, the remote jobs as well, weren't they? That was it.
All remote jobs. Using the deep fake and AI, wasn't it? To get jobs in it. And was it Know Before who a security company fell off got duped, but they did post a very good view on that. Well, it turns out that apparently, this isn't just the North Koreans that are doing dodgy stuff with fake companies.
No. We have Chinese tech companies allegedly disguising their operations in Taiwan to recruit top talent from firms like Intel and Microsoft. So, it's the Taiwanese Department of Justice, their investigation bureau, has just released a report back on Friday. It's been a year-long probe into attempts to poach Taiwanese talent in defiance of the laws. Because they say there are laws that restrict investments and hiring by Chinese companies in Taiwan. But yeah, they give us some examples of 3 different companies, haven't they? There's one called, and I'm going to butcher this again, I apologize, Yongshuang? I don't know. Basically, they develop high-end network chips.
Yep.
They got staff from Intel and Microsoft who are apparently lured to work there. And the Bureau are claiming the chips they're developing there it can be used in Chinese Data East to Compute West strategy. So this is where they're trying to move 5 million racks full of kit from China's big cities in the east to new data centers in the west, where there's a lot of renewable energy sources. And there's another one called, we all know Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corporation, SMIC, as it is. We've heard of that one. I think we've even spoken about them before. So this is China's largest chip maker. They apparently used a Samoan company to establish a presence in Taiwan, then hire local talent. Especially known as SMIC is on the USA's entity list of organizations that felt to represent national security risks. So they're on the bad list. And then there was another one here, Shenzhen Tongru Microelectronics. Disguised itself so well that the Taiwan's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology lauded it as an important innovator and growth company within the country. Yeah, they did a great job. But apparently the Bureau is looking to 11 other Chinese companies that are thought to have hidden their ties to Beijing.
I mean,
it's just crazy.
I guess it's easier to invade them by fake companies than it is to use military force, isn't it? I guess.
Well, I don't know. I think China's angling to do both.
Take them out from within, but yeah, I mean, it's scary stuff, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
And I think we all know that Taiwan is strategically important, and not from a just the perspective of the Western world, but the Chinese know it as well, because if they obviously take over, they're going to have access theoretically to the companies that are there. I mean, I saw something the other day. It was a proposal that that. And again, this was just weird kind of Trump-esque thing. Was saying that if the Chinese got Taiwan, could the US keep hold of TSMC as some kind of Taiwanese Guantanamo Bay style deal, which like if you in Cuba, Guantanamo Bay is all US territory. It's kind of ring fenced off, and the Cubans have kind of just basically given up because they know they're not getting it back, so they got to leave it.
Nope.
So could we have TSMC as kind of some kind of ring fence? But yeah, I mean, it is scary. It really is scary because the Chinese want access to these chips, especially with the boom in AI. I'm not suggesting they can't catch up; they will catch up, but it's a darn sight quicker, isn't it, to procure these existing chips already. So
or the talent.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting if they do a follow-up report about the rest and how far this investigation has gone.
I think we probably won't ever really know, will we? Because some of it's going to probably be quite secret. But I mean, the third one, like you mentioned, the Shenzhen Tongru Microelectronics Technology. What a great name! Getting awards, being celebrated for being growth.
A poster child of our economy.
It's brilliant. That is absolutely a mark of a success, isn't it? Well done.
Yeah. Hats off to those spies, or what are we going to call them?
Yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely. I guess you could argue, is it? At least they're making jobs, I suppose.
Helping the economy.
But I mean, I don't want to get into the whole tariff thing because. But did you see Taiwan got a massive? They got 34% tariffs?
Oh, have they really?
Yeah, I mean,
did you see the equation they used to figure out the tariffs? They put a lot of extra characters in there, to make it look fancy, but they all cancelled each other. And it was basically just what was it? What they bought from us divided by what we bought from them, or something stupid like that.
And then 50%, and then basically 50%.
And we'll slap a load of extra on top, and there you go, the magical number.
Well, I mean, when you go down the list of those tariffs, you see countries, not even countries, like the Falkland Islands. It's not a country; it's a British territory.
Yeah. Well, they don't understand that.
They've got a tariff for something ridiculous. Their GDP is $370 million, which is versus the trillions of dollars, which is the US.
Wasn't there someone? It wasn't the Falkland. There was someone with 99%.
Yeah, there was one island, wasn't there? Some island somewhere which was 99% tariff. And basically, when they worked out, they realised that they'd exported. I think I may be wrong, but I'm sure it was antidotally, wasn't it? Something like they exported I don't know, a couple of $100 worth of lobsters.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
it's just like,
but bought nothing from the US.
Yeah, so you get 99%. It's like, pardon? I'm sorry. What logic? I mean, there was one I read this morning was about
take that thought out of your mind. There is no logic.
No, it was at Norfolk Island, which is part of Australian Island, in the South Pacific.
Yep,
got massive tariffs applied to it. It's an external territory. It wasn't a very loud plane, by the way. It's external territory of Australia. Yeah, so it's not a country in its own right.
Yep.
And it turns out they look at it, and the tariffs on there when they worked into it, based on all the bills, had been a mistake. Somebody had confused Norfolk Island with Norfolk in the UK. And it turns out they've been hit with 29% tariffs. And they don't understand because they don't export anything to the US, and they reckon they reckon based on the paperwork that's been investigated, it's a confusion. But it doesn't matter because it's too late. It's too late.
That's what it is.
I don't want to get into it because I just will lose my mind over it.
But let's move on to something else.
But yes, So there we go. Chinese companies are invading Taiwan. Well, they're already there apparently. But I guess if they're paying,
successful.
If they're paying well and you get good benefits, I mean, I don't know. Is it worth it? What's the complaint? I suppose.
I'm currently looking for work.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. But I mean,
just
putting it out there.
Exactly.
Right. Oh, poor old Troy Hunt.
Oh.
So we've spoken about him before. You may know him from the Have I Been Pawned website, which is where it monitors your email addresses, domains for for data that's being leaked out and see if it can tie it to you and alert you that passwords may be compromised, your data may be out there. Fantastic service.
It has, and for many years it's been free, isn't it, to the end consumer?
I think it still is, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you only pay if you're a company or a government,
or a country, government.
You want to leverage the API capabilities. But yeah, I have to just say for you, I mean, Troy Hunt is providing us a service which is amazing. I think but yeah,
absolutely brilliant.
Anyway, Karl, sorry,
but we can all fall foul, and if someone like Troy Hunt can fall foul to a phishing, then they say we all can. Time to be vigilant. But yeah, so apparently. He got fished. So the kind of attackers, they use a kind of that classic tactic of creating that urgency, and that coupled with, I think he was traveling actually in the UK at the time.
I think he was, yeah.
So you're traveling, you're in a different time zone, you're tired, and it just all builds up and allows you to fall for this kind of thing. But yeah, he received a fake but seemingly realistic email from MailChimp, claiming that his account sending privileges were restricted due to spam complaint received the days before. That he would temporarily be unable to send emails until the issue was resolved, and then you need to review recent campaigns and audience lists. So in a moment of madness, he clicked the link, which sent him to a site called MailChimp-sso.com. Then entered his credentials, and I say the kicker is that here, and he openly admits it, he uses 1Password, and it didn't autocomplete. He had to do a manual override to put the details in there, and then he popped his 2FA in. And then at that point, he realised, quickly logged into the real MailChimp website, changed his passwords, but it was too late at that point. And it must have been an automated attack.
Yeah.
Because they were able to export the entire mailing list, which I think 16,000 records. Now, this isn't the mailing list for the Have I Been Porn service. This is the mailing list he uses to send out blog updates. So, okay, your email address is going to be out there, but it's nothing too worrisome. But yeah, you wanted to kind of highlight the fact that even he can fall for something like this.
And you know what? Credit to the man, because he wrote a really long blog, didn't he, about this?
He did,
and stating, and he was very upfront and saying, "I made a mistake," and he walked through the whole of the the attack. What happened, and what basically was the simple things, like you say, and all the things he talks about, the password manager, looking at the URLs. He said all those things, he should have seen it, but he didn't. And it's, he was blaming, probably he was tired. The first thing, the password manager should have been the first thing that he spotted, shouldn't he? Like you say. But it just went through. But like he said, it happens, and it just proves that it's not a case of if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. And you can fall for it. And the interesting part is that on that one, he said that he managed to log it. They took it down. Cloudflare got involved as well, didn't they? And took down the site that was hosting it, which was interesting. It was at MailChimp-sso.com, which I thought, when you see it now, you're like, that's not real. But like I
had a quick look. I thought, you know what? Let's check on Pi-hole, see if I would have it would have been blocked on my home network with block list. Yep, that was on there, so it would have been blocked for me. But when you're traveling, that's a lot more different, isn't it? You don't have the security of your home network unless you're VPN in and routing all traffic through it.
I just, it's impressive, that it happens. But I
don't think this was a particularly targeted.
No,
attack.
He said that, didn't he? He said that.
Oh, did he? I hadn't read the full blog. I kind of skimmed through it. I suspect this was a spray and pray kind of attack. Where just target anyone.
In his blog on his site, he does go. He doesn't think it was personal. He thinks, as you say, it was. He was just fell foul for it. They targeted, several people, obviously. Because I think if you're going after him, you wouldn't go after his blog. Would you go after
No, and actually, the email was good English. It wasn't like you can sometimes you get these emails in, and you're like, yeah, this is an obvious fish just by reading the contents of it, just because the spellings are wrong, the punctuation, just the way it's written. This was a well written email.
Yeah. It happens, I think. And the interesting part, you say, he was in the UK. He was doing some talks, I think, at Oxford University, wasn't he?
And I wanted to go, but just bad timing.
And he admitted. I think from what I read, he talked about it actually in one of the talks. He did a couple, and he also met with the National Cybersecurity Centre as well. And he said,
Yeah.
he was open about it, and I think that's the best thing here is that as security professionals, we should be open about this, because I think if we pretend it doesn't happen to us, then that's not going to help anybody, is it? We need to be open. We need to talk about it, and Troy obviously has a very visible presence in our industry. Is willing to do that. So hats off to the guy. He could have probably quietly brushed this under the carpet, couldn't he? And sort of stepped away from it, but he didn't. So yeah, it's it's worrying.
Yeah, be vigilant, people.
Absolutely, I think that is the message. Be vigilant. Be vigilant. Did you see though? He's doing a whole rebranding of Have I Been Pwned?
No, I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, it's they're going doing massive, because he's now got a couple of employees now, and there's a whole blog post on there that he talks about. But the rebranding started to happen. It hasn't happened.
I'll look at that.
Yeah, it hasn't happened on the page yet. But if you go on the blog, it talks about it. And interestingly, if you go onto Have I Been Pwned webpage, if you're familiar with it, you'll know what I'm on about here. But if not, at the bottom it says there's two columns. One says the largest breach, and then the other says recently added breaches. And the second one in the list is Troy Hunt's MailChimp list accounts.
Darn it!
but fair
play.
Fair play. I've got nothing but admiration for the man. He lives a good life.
Oh, he does. Just follow him on Twitter. He lives a good life.
He lives a very good life. And we shouldn't be envious of that. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah. So Ubisoft. There was an announcement for Ubisoft. I was hoping we were going to announce a new Ghost Recon, but that was not the announcement, unfortunately. So it's a joint announcement by Ubisoft and Tencent.
Tencent, yeah.
Chinese company, aren't they?
They are indeed.
They're creating a new subsidiary to manage key franchises, including Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six. So this is kind of a joint venture between them. What they've put is it will focus on building game ecosystems designed to become truly evergreen and multi-platform.
Oh, buzzword.
Buzzword bingo, here we go. But yeah, Tencent are going to take a minority stake of roughly 25% in the new joint venture. They've invested 1.16 billion. The Guillemot family, who own Ubisoft, will still be in control of this new venture, expected to compete in 2025. Not much more information than that one. We'll see how this works. And with this being its own subsidiary, we're looking after the three big franchises. Will this allow Ubisoft to concentrate on some of the smaller franchises? Hint, Ghost Recon?
Yeah, that's dead in the water, my friend, I think.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting another one of those.
It was interesting, though, because it also, one of the things that was called out, wasn't it, by the CFO, some investor questions, was saying that, is it still Ubisoft? Are they taking their hands off the wheel, wasn't it? And they were like, no. The CFO said, no, the board will still be controlled by Ubisoft. Ubisoft will be consolidating the entity. But I do think
this is a separate company with its own directors and stuff, but ultimately they report into Ubisoft.
Yeah, and is this a play, though, to give them a bigger chunk in the Chinese market? I think it is.
Quite possibly. I thought Tencent were invested in Ubisoft already.
I should check that before. I'm sure
they own part of Ubisoft.
Yeah,
I
was going to say, I think they are, and I think they're downplaying the actual, the size of it. They are key franchises. They've just had the new Assassin's Creed release, haven't they? Which is, doing very well. I think it's offended some people in Japan, apparently, because of some of the depictions of certain levels. Rainbow Six, Rainbow Six is turned into just a shooter, isn't it? It's just become a shooter, and I'm really sorry. To me, that takes away from everything that the core of the Rainbow Six canon was about. And to turn it into the Siege and all this other stuff, for me, I don't enjoy those games. That to me is just a shooter. That's just a straight up Call of Duty style. I don't know. I can't remember what the name of it is. Style shooter. But and Far Cry. Did you play? I don't know. I played the last Far Cry.
No, I played. I think the first, second, third, maybe, but didn't play anymore since then. So it's free on Game Pass. I just haven't played it.
Yeah. So the concept with the Far Cry is that after the second one, because the first two were kind of the same storyline, weren't they? One was set in an island, the second one was in Africa. The rest of them then descended into this kind of you were a protagonist, and somewhere in some far-flung place.
So we also have aliens and monsters in one of them.
It's one of the DLCs had that. Yeah. but they're basically, all of them it's a standalone story where you're a protagonist who is either, like I don't know, a tourist or something. You get basically involved in some local plot, whether it be a dictator on an island or whether it's some, ruler in some of the foothills of Nepal or Tibet or wherever it was.
Yeah.
And you basically end up, Jack Reacher style, getting involved, and cleaning up the mess.
I say this sounds very Reacher. It sounds very much like Reacher.
Yeah.
The wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, basically. But they just get worse and worse. The was it Far Cry 5? I think was quite good because that was set like in the US, in like in like really isolated place where it was all God fearing people who had decided that the end of the world was coming, and there was a nuclear bomb that went off. That one was quite cool. 6 was set on some like South American style island or place, but it's repetitive. It's so repetitive. It's a bit like Atomfall, which the new game came out from Rebellion. Really great, plays really well, looks fantastic. Set in the UK.
Set in the UK.
In Cumbria, in the kind of post-war early 50s. But it's basically Fallout. It's basically Fallout.
Oh yeah, it's a British Fallout.
Yeah, but you got to collect weapons, you got to do missions, you've got to try and understand, why you were in this bunker, all these factions you got to talk to, you got to align yourself with the factions. There's crafting, there's kind of, you got to eat to keep healthy. It's Fallout, isn't it? It's like, but anyway. But moving on.
Yeah. Talking of repeats, though, we have the Nintendo Direct happened. What was it, Wednesday?
It was Wednesday, yeah.
And Nintendo finally revealing all the details.
Money.
Switch 2. Yes, well, we'll get to the money part soon. But they did release the specs. Obviously, they dropped the announcement back in January that a Switch 2 was coming, didn't they? Was it January? Something like that. That Switch 2 was coming.
Well,
and
it would be announced,
leak,
wasn't it? Because it
was a leak. So Nintendo just came out and said, we're doing one. We'll tell you more at Nintendo Direct. But I have. Not quite all the juicy details we need, but they've shown it off. People who were there got to play with it hands-on. But spec-wise, you're getting a larger, 7.9-inch 1080p screen. I think the other one was 6-inch and 720. It's a lot smaller screen than the Switch one, isn't it? That screen is HDR with up to 120 hertz variable refresh rate. You can get a 4K output on the dock. It's a larger chassis, obviously, because we've got a larger screen. Storage is now 256 gigabytes internally. You've got a micro SD slot again, great. The Joy-Cons, they're now magnetic and they can be used as a mouse.
Yeah, well, we talked about this magnetic thing before, wasn't it? And the worries about were they really going to stay on?
I don't know. Looking at the videos I've seen, they seem quite sturdy.
They do, yeah.
So fingers crossed. Depends how energetic you get while you're playing the game, I suppose. Obviously, you've got USB-C ports for charging and accessories, and there is a new clip-on camera. Okay. No real details about the CPU and GPU yet, though rumor has leaked that it is based on Samsung's 8nm tech. It's based on NVIDIA SoC called the T239, which is used in automotive applications.
That's a very odd one, but I'm guessing there's a reason.
It's a very odd one, but GPU-wise, it seems to be related to the NVIDIA's Ampere. So 3000 series RTX.
Nice.
It's got, allegedly still, don't know for sure, 1536 CUDA cores. So that's not as powerful as a 3050.
No, but for what it is, it's going to play well. And
Look,
it has to be power efficient.
The old one was Maxwell based.
Yes.
So ancient and only had 256 cores.
But I mean, look how pretty
different core types. But
Zelda was. I mean, it just was. You've got to admit, Nintendo's development teams, and I mean their partners as well, do an amazing job. Of getting the best.
Very optimized.
Oh, highly optimized. I think the other thing we talked about is when it was leaked was the LCD screen as well, and the fact that given you've already got an OLED model now, is this pointing to the fact that they're going to give you at some point another OLED upgrade? I think they will.
Switch to OLED, possibly.
I think you will find.
Interestingly, though, NVIDIA did put out a blog yesterday, giving a little more information that the GPU in there does support DLSS and has dedicated RT and Tensor cores. So
nice.
you can do hardware ray tracing and AI acceleration. It also supports G-Sync for that variable refresh screen. Going to be launching June the 5th. Now let's talk money.
Well, before we do that, I just want to say the
Yeah.
mouse thing was bugging me, right? And I had
Yeah.
I had to look at the video because they had another video, didn't they, that they released that kind of showed some of the concept of it. And
Yes.
I
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
what they're thinking. There are games where it might be more mouse based, isn't it? So you basically hold one of the Joy Cons in one hand and one in the other, and you're using the thumbstick, aren't you? And
You might get some RTSs, maybe.
yeah, but it just looked. I think the video. I think well,
Doesn't look comfortable, does
no,
it?
there was one of the stories. I think it was PC World, PC Gamer. Sorry,
Yeah.
one of the right journalists said it looked clunky, and I think that's probably the only way I can describe it myself as well.
Yeah. Look, you're not going to use that on the move, really. Maybe hooked up to the TV. So why not just give you an actual mouse support and keyboard support?
But you see, I remember I had it. See, do you remember the original PlayStation, the OG PlayStation?
Yes.
I had a mouse.
Woo.
I had the PlayStation mouse, and I played Command and Conquer on my PlayStation with the mouse.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Was that some special mouse? Because it didn't have USB then, did it? It was the 4-pin connector thing.
Yeah, the same as the controller. Yeah, same as the controller. Yeah. So
Okay.
I can't. I think it can be. If it's better than that, then we're on to a winner.
Sure. But yeah, they don't look like comfortable for long gaming sessions.
No, but yes, your point on the price. Oh,
Right, buckle up, guys. It has had a slight price increase. It is now $450 for the console only,
absurd.
or $500 if you want them to throw Mario Kart World bundle in.
And how much is Mario
now-
Kart? Remember?
It's cheaper to buy it with a console. So, first-party games such as Mario Kart World will now cost you $80.
Don't. Stop. I've just bought
Yeah.
I've got to tell you, I've just bought two more. Don't ask. Two more Switch
You're a
lights.
sucker, man.
Two more Switch lights. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I managed to get both of them for £100, under £100. Yeah.
Great.
So anyway, but
100 each, not 100 for the pair.
No. One was 91, the other one was 87, I think. Anyway,
Yeah.
Great condition. Anyway, but of course you need games.
Oh, yes, you do.
So I've had to pick up 2 copies of Animal Crossing. If I wanted a brand new copy of Animal Crossing, I went to Amazon. It would have been
This is a 5-year-old game.
£36 for the physical. I went into CEX. So in the UK, CEX is like a GameStop, isn't it? What's the other?
Like eBay, but in a real
but it's
store.
basically you can buy and sell
Second-hand games.
And it was 37 in there. I'm like, what? So I thought, okay, well, I wonder how much a digital download is. Amazon want £47 for a digital download, which is not far off the £49 that Nintendo want for a digital download. And I'm like, what is the
5-year-old game?
But what am I paying for? Because it's digital. There's no box.
Nintendo tax. That's what you're paying.
So when I saw this price about the game, and of course, so I've had to buy 1 copy of Animal Crossing for each Switch.
Yeah.
I got them on eBay.
Haven't you already got 2 copies for the other 2 Switches? The other two.
But if they're playing with
now
them,
you have 4 copies.
Yeah, but 2 of them. One of them's digital. The other one's physical.
Yeah.
Anyway, like I said, don't ask. My point being is, so I've managed to get 2 copies for just under £50 on eBay. Yeah, which is good again. But to see this, that the copy of Mario Kart or first-party games was £80.
Third-party games will be matched now. We're just going to say Nintendo games on the new Switch 2 will cost $80.
It's like, what planet are Nintendo on?
Oh, it gets worse.
Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest. I was like,
that's all right. Oh, no. I'm going to give you something else to write about now. So it is meant to be backwards compatible, but with Switch 1 games, but apparently not all games will.
Oh, of course.
Now, some games will get free updates, mainly first-party Nintendo ones that say may improve performance or add support for features such as game share in select games. However, some games will have a paid-for updates to give you Switch 2 features, such as higher resolution, new textures. Seriously, right? Microsoft and Sony gave you free updates if you bought a Series SX or PS5 and had the old game. Even the third-party publishers did it. But no, Nintendo are going to charge you.
My brain is struggling.
It's all about the Benjamins.
It's like, what the hell is wrong with Nintendo?
Well, the problem is, people are still going to buy this.
Oh, yeah, you know what?
A lot of people are still going to buy this, and it will make it okay, acceptable to charge that.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all, right?
So what's going to happen is the Microsoft and the Sonys and their ecosystems are going to look at it and go, they're charging $80. Right, we're going to start charging $80 now.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, this is it.
Come to PC, people. Steam sales all the time.
My brain is just struggling.
On PC, you would not even consider paying £50 for a 5-year-old game.
No, you wouldn't.
That would be 99p in the Steam sale.
Just bonkers. But you know what? I wish my bank account had the same level of what's the word I'm looking for? Increase in value, in terms of my savings that Nintendo did. Basically, Nintendo doesn't depreciate. That's basically the point I'm getting at.
No, it does not.
So I wish the money in my bank account worked in the same way that the interest rates are.
But Nintendo have their sales, don't they? I still keep looking on for the Yoshi or the Kirby games.
Yeah,
it's like, they're in the sale. We've knocked £2 off them, and I'm like, nope.
No, you're done.
No.
Walk away.
Okay. I'm just going to pirate that on my Steam Deck.
I didn't hear that.
No. Well, I've actually got Switch emulation working. It's on my to-do list. But buy yourself a Steam Deck. Get your PC games cheap on Steam.
I'll do what I do and play on the Raspberry Pi, and I've got a Retro Pi. A lot of ROMs, which I found these ROMs, somewhere.
I know. I've got those on the Steam Deck. I just haven't got around to looking at Switch.
Yeah, these ROMs I just happened to trip over one day in the street. Anyway, moving on. So it's time for. Okay, brace yourself. This is going to take a while.
Oh, there are a few. Let's start with the watches. Yes, more than one.
There's always more than one.
I'm not really sure I'm okay with this development, but Apple is apparently developing camera-equipped Apple Watches to enhance its AI capabilities, targeting release by 2027. So the cameras are going to allow the Apple Watch to utilize visual intelligence, Apple's AI feature. That's out on the phones now, isn't it? Visual intelligence, yeah. Basically, the standard watch is going to have cameras embedded within the display, while the Watch Ultra will have it near the digital crown. So I think you can just point your arm at it and the camera will pick up what you're pointing at and, use Apple Visual Intelligence. I don't want this. I'm going to say this. I don't want this on my watch.
I have to say, it's a little bit bonkers, isn't it? I get why they're doing it.
It's a solution looking for a problem.
Yes. I think you're absolutely right. It is. Apple Intelligence has to be everywhere. So they're trying to think, well, the one device you've got everywhere with you is the device then that we can leverage to, I don't know, read menus, isn't it? Take pictures of things in your environment. Basically what the Humanity AI pin wanted to do, but obviously will work. But the fact you've got is it always on camera? Probably.
I don't know. No, surely. No, from a privacy point of view, you wouldn't do it always on, would you? This is Apple.
I don't know. I'm just saying, these kind of
battery life surely would just die.
I think this will add complexity to a device that is already does a great job and works. I want more.
Give me more health features.
Exactly. Give me more health features. Because I've been looking at one of these, Aura rings, and there's another one called I think it's for Humanity Ring as well, because they do far more complex health tracking around sleep and heart. Yeah. Give me all of that in the watch, man. I'd pay for that.
Yeah. Not a camera.
I don't need a camera.
No, I've got a camera on my phone.
Yeah.
I want to use Apple Intelligence. I'll get it out.
I don't need a camera.
The phone.
Yeah. I just think Apple here are inventing use cases for something that doesn't exist.
Yeah. No, we don't need this. No. Right. Let's talk about the Apple Watch SE. This has apparently hit a bit of a snag. So it's been a few years since we had the Watch SE release, isn't it? 2 years maybe?
Watch SE, got to be at least more than 2 years.
2, maybe 3? Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. I'd argue at least 3 years because they didn't update it last time round.
No, because we were meant to be getting a new Watch SE back last year, and we did talk about then that the rumours meant it's meant to be plastic case, like the 5C. that kind of bright plastic. The idea being to offer a cheaper version, a more kid-friendly option.
Look, I personally think this is something I was really keen to hear about, but yeah, they haven't got any further.
Not really going to plan though. So
No.
according to Mark Gurman, it's in serious jeopardy. And he's saying so the design team doesn't like the look, and the operations team is finding it difficult to make the casing material cheaper than the current aluminium chassis.
Yeah, that's a bit worrying, isn't it?
So that's pretty much a no-go, really, isn't it? If we can't make it cheaper and we don't like the look of the device we've made, that doesn't make sense. It's all new tooling and all new manufacturing lines.
I'd say surely if you can't meet the whole reason why the device should exist, then something has gone wrong. Don't do it.
Just do a cheaper aluminium one.
Yeah, I'd be up for that. I mean, look, my eldest daughter would love an Apple Watch.
My son has, but he got it as a Christmas present. He has the SE actually.
So yeah, she'd love it.
One of my other daughters, like yours, would also like one.
Currently, she's got a kind of a third-party smartwatch, that talks.
Yeah, I also got some Fitbits floating around.
Yeah, but with the whole Google thing, that's gone south, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But she's got this kind of, I don't want to say knockoff, that's not right, that's not fair. It's kind of it's a smartwatch for kids that's got an app on her phone, and it tracks her steps and can she can do things on it, but it's not a smart watch, obviously, in the sense of an Apple Watch. But she'd love an SE. It doesn't need to have all the with bells and whistles. It just needs to have all the basic functionality. Yeah, she'd be well up for that. And I'd buy it. I think I would. I'd be prepared to buy it. But
what's the price point? So what's an SE now? 300?
I'd have got to look that up.
No idea what an SE even is.
Apple SE watch. Let's have a look. Go to Apple SE watches on the Apple website. £219.
219.
219. I tell you,
that's cheaper than I thought. That's not what we paid more than that for Harry's one.
Well, look, I tell you, if that was, 40mm case, £219. If you want a 44mm, it's 250, basically 250 or 220. Let's just state, if they made that under 200 quid, I would buy that. And I bet you, I bet you on Amazon.
Christmas present for the kids, maybe.
Well, yeah, don't give me ideas, but yeah, look, I'd be well up for a new Apple Watch, especially if it could, do it, but not if they're going to make it, not if they're going to give complexities here. So I think you're right. I think this is dead in the water now.
Yeah. I think we'll just get possibly same chassis as the current SE, with some new sensors and an updated sock in it, maybe.
Yeah, I mean that's probably all they need to do. But again,
I suspect we were getting those anyway. It'll be based on a Watch 8 or something like
that. Well, I'm trying to think how stepped down the SE was from the time at I think.
Wasn't it based on a Watch 4? The current SE?
I think it was.
Or was that the previous one?
I think it was. But look, even if they gave it an 18-month or 2-year-old sock in it, it's still going to be better than what is there, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. They'll get a wealth of extra health features there as well.
Yeah. So look, it's
we'll see.
It is, it's definitely something they need to look at. But
I suspect we'll hear in September.
Well, let's hope we do, because I think I could do with a new SE.
Yeah. Okay, so have you all bought your M4 MacBooks, Airs, Pros?
Well,
iPads?
the only M4 I've got is the M4 MacBook Pro, which I love to bits.
Obsolete now. Obsolete.
Well, I can't keep up. You've got to stop this.
Get with the times. So Gurman is. Well, this is hardly shocking. He is saying we will this year get an M5 MacBook Pro refresh.
Oh, that's it. We're done. Stop. We're done.
But that's not the one you should be excited about. That is just going to be take the current one design, which I think was only last year the redesign, wasn't it? And they're going to slap an M5 in it. It's the one in 2026, which is going to be the complete overhaul. M6 chip, OLED displays, thinner designs, those kind of stuff.
You know what? I'm gonna be a bit of a hypocrite here. Like, I just think though, like, why is this news? We're talking about it. I know we're talking about it. I know we're doing it.
It's not news. It's not news. It just all came in at once. I was like, oh my god, I got so many rumors.
No, I'm not. It wasn't you. It was more like Gurman and like Bloomberg. It's like, guys, we know
the M5 one isn't really news.
We know.
Hell, 2026 if we get an M6, that's not really news. The thinner design and improved displays, yeah, great. That's an overhaul of the design of the device.
Yeah, and
That's news.
the MacBook Pro always leaps, doesn't it? If you will.
Yeah,
So look, again, I've got to be asking, what are you doing on a MacBook that requires so much power?
everything
You know,
at once.
yeah. I mean, I've heard, I know you can do Final Cut Pro and you can have those multiple cameras, they've shown, but I was listening to the podcast the other day and they were talking about how using Final Cut Pro on the device on the iPad just wasn't a great experience, even though it could handle it. It just wasn't a very
Well,
good.
that's it. What you're doing on your iPad, because that's also getting the M5, and I think the iPads have been getting the newer M processors before the MacBooks, haven't they?
Yeah, the step down there, haven't they?
Recently,
They've been getting the one below it, haven't they? And then
yeah. So apparently you're going to get the M5 on the iPad Pro as well. But again, it had its update last year, didn't it?
yeah,
So no new design, just a drop-in sock upgrade.
but one thing I will say, and is the what we've been saying is that the Apple processors are going on TikTok, aren't they? Like Intel.
Yeah,
So M4, I still think will be a better processor, generally speaking, at high end than the M5 base level processors will be.
yeah,
And therefore, like you said, the M6 is where the news is because that'll be again a substantial leap in the capability.
yes.
But I don't know. I look my M5 processor, my M5. Where did I get that from?
Whoa, cutting edge.
My M4 MacBook Pro, and I went for the not the baseline, the one up, middle road M Pro chip.
Yeah.
That's going to get me several years out of that. I can't.
Oh,
See
definitely.
it. But it's coming. I guess
Exactly.
The one thing I will say that I think I think you're about to talk about this next though is we need to have an overhaul on the design of the devices. That's more the issue, isn't it, than just the chips.
Yeah. I was saying, but the iPad Pros had a redesign last year, so
Yeah.
you won't get that. Yeah, and even the next rumor he's saying about the next iPad Pro, it's nothing about a new design's chassis.
No,
Just that at 2027 with the M6, you can expect to get Apple's a new C Ranger modems put in there. That'll be the next device with the Apple modem, apparently.
yeah, which makes sense, doesn't it? Because they're going to want to test it, but before they put it into a flagship device, that's why it's gone to the E. Do you know what? I'll be surprised if they put it, which they may do, but I'll be surprised if it goes into the iPhone 17 Pros or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But
I think it's just a tad too early for the next revision.
Yeah.
So maybe next year after, maybe the 18th.
So what am I going to get then in my new MacBook? So if I go for an M5 MacBook Pro, then am I going to, what am I getting in there?
You're getting nothing. You're just getting an M5.
What?
But same as you just getting an M5 in the iPad Pro as well.
All right. So I've got to wait then for the M6. That's what you're telling me. I've got to wait.
You've got to wait for the M6 if you want something that looks different.
So the OLEDs that we've never had that keep being spun out,
touted, but yeah,
never devised. The one thing that catches me though is that this thinner design. It's like, please do not return to the days of
butterfly keyboard.
Yeah,
keyboard gate. Yeah, you don't want that.
It's like, Johnny, you did a great job. Don't make us do that any worse.
No. But something that is actually sounding fairly good. So possibly dangerous, worrying. We'll see how this one pans out. Apple is developing a revamped health app under the codename Project Mulberry.
Awesome.
This is set to launch with iOS 19.4 in spring 2026. I just had
to wait. When's that?
That was very specific, 19.4. But yes, this is the AI health app. So it's going to have an AI health coach designed to replicate the functions of a personal doctor. Yeah, that's slightly worrying. But it's going to utilize health data collected from users, particularly those with Apple Watches, as well as using data from all these physicians that Apple has been hiring to kind of enhance its recommendations and provide a more personalized touch. It's going to be focusing on food tracking and nutritional guidance as well. It's also potentially going to be using the iPhone's rear camera to analyze workouts and offer technique improvement suggestions. Yeah.
This is cool.
It is cool. I'm just worried about AI trying to be a doctor and recommending stuff.
But I get that. But I think as we progress, the technology will get to the point where basic health stuff can be done. Because, I agree that we still need a human in the element, but it's all down to the training and it's all down to the data. and I think there is going to be a point soon where AI capability will be able to recognize common conditions. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting you should use it as a sole doctor, but as a triage, probably not a bad
Yeah.
thing. I
Not a
mean,
bad thing.
this ties in, doesn't it? Remember a few years ago, Apple were talking about that they wanted to become a leader in health,
Yes.
and it didn't really go anywhere, did it? Yeah, I mean, we got
No.
the health app, we got the tracking, but it didn't really progress beyond that. When we got all the health stuff and the sleep capabilities, and it was all great. But I didn't. Do you remember it was they were saying, "Oh, you'll be able to talk to your doctor or share information with your doctor," but not many places took that up, did they?
No, certainly not in the UK. I think some in the US did, and it shares that data. But yeah, not seen anything in the UK.
But so I'm well up for this. I'm really impressed.
Well, you've got Fitness Plus, haven't you?
Yeah. We used to time. My other half uses
So
it. Yeah.
the speculation is that this extra AI whizziness might be part of Fitness Plus, which would probably make sense.
Oh, you look. She uses it all the time for the workout, functionality and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it'd be quite clever. You're right. If the camera could do it, as long as it was, an Apple being Apple, it isn't going to be shared data that's going to go everywhere, is it? So,
No.
but if it could say, "Oh, hang on a minute, you're doing those yoga poses, but you're doing it wrong. You should try this way." That'd be quite clever. Or imagine if you said, "Oh, my hip hurts," and it says, "Well, let me see you walk." And it's and remember, because they do that in hospital, the cameras can see your gait, or they can spot issues like that. That'd be quite cool. But maybe we're going way off down the road.
Maybe. I mean, the camera's got LiDAR built in as well. Maybe we can use LiDAR here.
That'd be awesome. I mean, wow, yeah. Look, I'm interested to see this. I'm all down for more of the services. As long as I have to pay more, that's the issue. But I'm definitely down for all the services. So, well, is that it?
Wow.
Are we at the bottom?
That about wraps it up when it comes to rumours this week.
Well, it has been a lot. I think we've got a lot there, and obviously we've got a couple of weeks to try and scrape together some more. Which, let's be honest, we will do. And as we get closer to WWDC, things are going to start coming out. We're on iOS beta 18.5 already. That dropped yesterday. There are already early leaks and screenshots coming around about iOS 19, aren't we? That we're seeing, some of these things.
Yeah.
So Gurman, I think John Prosser did some pictures that Gurman then attacked that they were. Prosser said we've created our own mock-ups based on the mock-ups we saw, and then Gurman was like, "Yeah, well, you shouldn't believe things you see on the internet that are based on old leaks." It's like, oh my god, tit for tat. But we're going to get closer to WWDC, so there's going to be more news around what iOS 19 is going to look like, which is rumored to be the biggest overhaul, isn't it, of iOS in many, many years, which is we kind of alluded to the other week. But yeah, that's it. So we're going to be quiet, as we said. We're going to be dark for 2 weeks. So next episode will come out Friday, 25th of April. We'll bring you all the latest news and updates over the next couple of weeks as we come to them. But again, all of our back catalogue is available for you to see on the streaming sites, wherever you get your podcasts from, and on YouTube, of course. Please like the show, give us a comment. It absolutely helps us. And of course, you can find us on Blue Sky at Weekly Tech Rant as well. So right, with that then, I've been Jay.
I've been Karl. Have a good one all.
And we'll see you all in a couple of weeks' time.